Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited today to celebrate with you, my friend, Christina Divina. Now, I've actually known her for so many years, and to me, she's just this incredible example of somebody who, through sharing and bringing love, is able to maximize her reach and is reaching so many people with astrology. I've seen her grow so much over the years, and I know that actually she's one of those people for whom I feel that there's this strength and love in her astrology that makes me go to her when I need a little bit of love, when I need a little bit of wisdom. She's just that good. And now Christina Divina is coming to Synchronicity University. Well, let me tell you, the July 2022 speaker series is set to be an incredible event. It is right now, choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class until the end of June. So not a lot of time left. And I hope that you'll join us to hear this quality of speaker like Christina Divina and 4 other speakers as well as part of this 5-week series. So yes, my friend, Christina Divina, she is the one that I go to when I need that mix of love and that reminder of the good things in me and just somebody that I trust and I just think is a very bright light in astrology. And a part of the reason why I even started the speaker series was to celebrate incredible people like Christina with you. Her website is butterflyastrology.com. Christina, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. You know, the heart space, right? The heart space goes
I
when
know.
there's a lot of love. And I thank you so much for having me in this beautiful space with Synchronicity University. As you said, we've known each other for so many years, and to see your growth has inspired my growth. So I'm just so grateful to be here.
Well, I adore you so much. And I'll tell you that I think about how from the very beginning, I connected with you online and I remember you just giving a lot of love and sharing so generously. And actually, like there's just one business class I teach every year, every summer with Kepler College. I have a business class. And that is the only like business class that I do. But when I do that class, I actually think of you as an example to the students because I think about how you were so loving, you were so giving. And I saw how that created opportunities for you as well in astrology. And I think that that is just such an incredible example of when you are open and generous and giving and growing, how it is that other people are just drawn to that, how it is that love magnifies love. And especially with you, I've seen how that love magnifies opportunity in your life with me and with others as well. So I'm really proud of you and watching you grow as well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, my philosophy is we're all human. We're all going through something. So why hide that behind the facade? And that's why my business, my astrology is transmuting butterfly astrology, helping you transmute darkness into light. Like if we deny the hard stuff and that we're not going through something, like trying to pretend that things are kumbaya, uh, we're not going to get anywhere, right? And the more that we are vulnerable and show others that, hey, we can love through this stuff and love each other and support each other. There's enough space for everybody to be part of this and to grow together as a community.
Yeah, as an astrological community, but that's a
Yeah,
great way to bring any sense of community in any space that you go into.
right.
But yes, certainly we see that in astrology. And so I'm really excited about your talk. Now, it's interesting, just before I talk about Neptune, which is what you're going to be talking about,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say you were just talking about kumbaya and stuff like that. And I was thinking, you know, people may not realize this, but I have an 8th house sun. And I know that as positive and loving as you can be, you've got like Scorpio energy in your chart. I got Scorpio energy in my chart. So we
Hmm.
know that life can not always
Yeah.
be kumbaya, right? Life is
Mhm.
not always easy peasy or Pollyanna. And
Right.
yet I think that, and I know that this is something I come to you for to remind me of, like,
Mm.
even when things are hard, there's so much we can still gain if we choose to take a moment to sort of step out of that real emotional intensity and,
Right.
yeah, choose to try and see what might be loving in this moment, what might be a part of us becoming more wise in this moment, even when it's hard. And I've seen you do that, and I've seen you facilitate that in me as well. And that's another way to use this transmuting energy. And when you say transmuting, that's so Scorpio, right? That's so eighth house. Yeah, which is like a part of you too.
Yeah. And fun fact, I have Neptune in the eighth, conjunct my moon. So
Look at that. And so
that's
no
why I
wonder you're
love,
coming.
yep.
No wonder you're coming to Synchronicity University and talking about Neptune. Conjunct your moon. What?
Yeah. It's and that's why you'd expect, most people would expect me to talk about Pluto. I also have Sun conjunct Pluto, so yes, I can also talk about that. But um, I really love Neptune in the sense of understanding, because it's so hard to understand. And intuition or insanity, which is it? Well, my clients who have come to me know I always say intuition and insanity, there is a fine line between that. And it's so easy to fall either way. And so, a lot of people, when they start their spiritual journey, or they start looking at astrology to see themselves with what I call the universal mirror, Neptune is a beautiful spot to start, because this is going to be the gateway to your intuition, to the spiritual realm, and understanding how Neptune's energy flows in your life and how it interacts with your personal planets, and just seeing how spirit colors your life.
It's so interesting you mentioned Neptune as representing spirit. And I think about how Neptune in the different signs can really
Mhm.
change the way that that spirit is experienced, right? And so I know that in this class, you're probably going to go through understanding Neptune by sign placement, by house placement, but I would love if you could give people a little bit of a preview. So let's start with Neptune in Aries. Like, what can you
Ooh.
say about people who have Neptune and Aries and how they experience that fine line between intuition and insanity, or spirit and uncertainty? How would you describe a Neptune and Aries, for example, which we're going to have as a collective coming up
That's
very
what I was
soon?
gonna say. There's nobody alive with Neptune in Aries yet. Neptune, if I'm correct, it's 184 years for the orbit. So you can imagine that's been a while. But yeah, no, people who are going to be born with that Neptune in Aries, um, as with everything, the zodiac is cyclical. So a beautiful way to interpret things that are coming is to look at where it is now. So seeing Neptune and Pisces that we're experiencing right now, it's this explosion of spirituality all over again, right? We are being turned towards that inner self. These difficulties in the world right now are pushing us inward, because once Neptune goes into Aries, that's like a marriage of the physical, that spark within us, in union with this deep connection to that which is beyond us, that which is not just third dimensional. Yeah, I see this beauty coming, where we, like, maybe the kids that are born with Neptune and Aries are like spiritually turned on all the way. Like it's a pure connection to spirit.
And what do you think about Neptune and Taurus? Let's go through the signs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Neptune and Taurus. So imagine you have this pure spiritual energy, these people that are just born. Think of babies and children. They're very attuned to the spiritual and the intuitive and the imaginative as well. So once you go into that, it's like I can, oh my goodness, the vision that comes up is like forest fairies, like learning how to tune into the earth. So, in a lot of religions, there are practices that use natural herbs and natural, elements to create things, not just physically but spiritually, right? There's cleanses, baths with herbs and things of that nature. So I can only imagine that as Neptune traverses through the signs, especially during the beginning, there's a reestablishment of how we connect with spirit and how we connect to our imagination and intuition. That's definitely how that vibe is going.
And Neptune and Gemini, I imagine that that could bring such a spiritual mind, right? Like, and spiritual words, a whole new way to understand language. How do you understand the Neptune and Gemini generation?
Oh wow. It just takes me to like the Renaissance, and I don't even know if the Renaissance had that placement or something, but it's just this flourishment. I can imagine great books being written, right? These imaginations and stories of myths, new myths that align with what's been learned over the last two signs, that a way to collectively share these ideas of spirit, you know?
And Neptune and Cancer, that spiritualizes
Oof.
home. That's very nostalgic, right? Yeah.
With Neptune in Cancer, the way that, again, I have a lot of Neptune in me. So if you see me looking away or something, it's me connecting to that intuitive side of me. And so with Neptune in Cancer, I feel that is like the first safety zone, I want to say. As we progress through the first three signs, we're kind of home again, where we can marry those three things: the physical representation of spirit, the foundation and the connection to nature, and then the ideas, bringing it home, bringing it together, making sure that we are proactively using spirit to nurture ourselves.
That's so much what the sign of Cancer is about, right? It is about
Yes.
understanding what soul, like food, but then with Neptune it's like soul food, right?
of
Yeah.
of the other dimension. I want to say.
Yeah, how do you connect with the other dimension and let that feed you, let that fuel you? It's a very powerful thing. And so
Yeah.
Neptune and Leo, so here we're back to the fire
Mm.
element again.
Yeah, which is again that now that we have home base, right? We created home base in our life or in our generations that are coming up ahead, right? I can only imagine that. Well, Leo is connected so much to love and the heart and all that beautiful stuff. But um, sorry, my Leos, y'all are grand.
We
So
love you, Leos. We love them all.
I
Yeah.
birthed one, but with that being said, I can just imagine that the ideals of love and the things that call to our heart um and also, Leo is also with that, the childlike nature. It's just letting yourself roam free. So it's giving ourselves that permission. I can only imagine that generation giving themselves the permission to do what they need to connect spiritually and bring in these creative ideas into their life, and to fill their hearts with that completely at all times of the day, not just at home.
Yeah, right. And it's such an energy of play. And the thing is, though, it's also very loyal energy. So it'll be interesting to see how the freedom of play in a fixed sign and a
Yeah,
focused sign, like
yeah.
focused fire, fixed fire, um, how it deals with such a nebulous energy as Neptune.
I just want to make sure that as I'm describing these things, as with any point in the chart, there's a positive, there's a negative, not necessarily good or bad, but just that, yes, these are kind of the higher vibratory outcomes that can occur. And I'm sure we can do a whole other cycle with how, this can look in a certain way as to not be so positive. Like if we're doing what we need to be doing as a society, these are the outcomes that we should definitely be looking forward to.
And Neptune in Virgo.
Ooh, wow. I feel like we're kind of feeling that now due to the fact that Neptune's in Pisces and Virgo's the opposite sign. So you can always feel a bit of that opposite sign happening. But with Neptune in Virgo. Virgo health field. We're looking at not just nurturing, but like putting our hands in the dirt, getting our hands dirty to better ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to take care of others. And so I can imagine that these practices, like I'm just seeing like shamanic practices or medicine men and women, just being a focus, like we need to bring that in. And that's a great time. That would be a great time.
Oh, that's such a perfect example, right? These shamanic practices so embody, especially where they're motivated by health and improve health. They're so embodied by Neptune and Virgo. It's a great example.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
yeah, and I was thinking like faith healing. That's what shamans embody, right? So perfect
Mm-hmm.
for this placement. So
Yeah.
next we have Libra, Neptune and Libra generation. I know that there are
Wow.
lots of people alive today who've got Neptune and Libra. What can we
Yeah.
say about this generation?
To Libra. So with that, hmm, Libra definitely is a fun sign. It deals not just with the self, but with others and how we connect, right? And one thing that I get from here is empathy. There's like an extra dose of empathy here. The thing is, in the perfect world, right? I would say that this is where Libra yeah, they already think a lot about the other person and they forget themselves, but this is where one person thinks of the other and the other thinks of them. And it's just this very symbiotic connection spiritually where we're aware of each other's needs and just making sure that we all feel good and we all feel that love together.
Neptune and Scorpio. This is where it really
Those
gets fun.
people. A few is a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and just knowing people that have Neptune and Scorpio, I'm amazed. A lot of people who are not spiritual, and I have conversations with them, they tell me I know things without knowing it. Psychologically, I can read people. I can tap into other people's psyche, that kind of thing. Neptune and Scorpio, whether you know it or not, you are tuned in to other people's souls and you're able to like really read people. It's really cool.
Neptune and Sagittarius.
Listen, talk about going wild.
I can testify to that. Yes.
I love that one. Well, Sagittarius shares, you know, Neptune in the sense of like Jupiter was Pisces' previous ruler. So there's an affinity, I think, between even Jupiter and Neptune, and as Sag with Pisces. So when you combine those two, I mean, wisdom, philosophy, wow, you just talk about the great minds where we can unlock very deep philosophical ideals where the freedom is on high. And the freedom is related to making sure that your spirit, that inner compass of your life and your soul is connecting every day to that bigger etheric field of life.
And Neptune in Capricorn.
That's me.
Yeah.
um, with Neptune and Capricorn, well, Capricorn is all about, I call them the ones that have the blueprint. They know how to build it. They know, well, with Neptune in there, um, it's so difficult because, you know, Capricorn deals with the karma, the third dimension, just the physical reality, and to infuse that type of thing with, um, the energy of Neptune. The way I see it is imagine a bare building and you add holograms to it. And now the building becomes something else. Like the Neptune and Capricorn generation is infusing reality with this extra layer that you can't hold it. You could kind of see it, but most people don't get it.
Isn't that interesting? They
Yeah.
must be a part of um, the very first generation to explore virtual reality, right? And then
Yes.
with Neptune and Aquarius, it became something for the masses. And so, how would
Yes.
you talk about the Neptune and Aquarius generation?
Woo. Well, with Aquarius, I call them the hackers. They're the hackers. They're so in tune with technology. So to bring Neptune, I mean, a great example is there's VR programs that you can do meditations and explore these etheric worlds. It's literally the infusion of this other dimension, other reality that we have in our subconscious, the place where ideas come from, being brought out through technology and just infusing that third dimension building with just way a whole different layer. Like, mm, two
And
realities in one. I'm sorry. That's what
yeah,
two
for
realities in
sure.
one.
Yeah. And of course, right now we are in the midst of Neptune and Pisces. So the people
Yeah.
born right now, what would you say
Wow.
for them? Yeah.
you know, my own daughter, Neptune and Pisces. What I would say about that is these kids being born with Neptune and Pisces, if there's, you'd be amazed the children you see now, like meditating and actually like doing these things that connect to spirit and soul and like, oh wow, I'm just amazed. So Neptune in Pisces is the pure essence of that spirit, that connection to intuition, and just embodying it. It's just they are it.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And so thank you for just touching on quickly there the different Neptune generations, because I know
Yeah,
there's like so many layers with which to understand it.
yeah.
Like I'm thinking about musical taste,
Oh
musical
my
trends,
gosh,
right? Where it
yes.
comes to Neptune,
Woof.
that can speak really big. And Neptune can
Movies.
also show up in terms of style, but because it's so like about the glamour, what's happening
Mm,
with movies, what's happening on that level too. So I'm
yeah,
sure there's going to be so many rich layers with which you're going to explore
yeah,
Neptune during the class. So once
yeah.
again, it is going to be Christina, who is part of the July speaker series at Synchronicity University. We've got these incredible speakers coming up. And also what's exciting is you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class for about another 3 weeks or so. So I hope that you guys will check that out, learn more at the link below, or go to synchronicityuniversity.com. Well, Christina, I adore you. I love you. I know that,
I love you
Neptune
too.
is one of those things that can be, because it's so nebulous, can be hard sometimes to really contain enough to even talk about.
It
Sometimes
is.
Neptune is one of those things that has to be experienced. But
Right.
yeah, I know that it's a very powerful thing to try and bring some intellect and bring some concepts into the mix as part of
Hmm.
understanding our own Neptunian energy.
Yeah.
And this is an energy you're familiar with because you have Neptune conjunct your moon as well. And I think that's part of why perhaps you are a person that I consider so wise, and you are a person whom I have gone to for guidance or just encouragement. It's like this healing balm that comes in with Neptune, And
Yeah.
so I think, and I hope that people are able to take away that every one of us has our own way of bringing healing energy and healing
Yeah.
balm. And for you, it's such an energy of a lift, right? The way that you bring it, and it's conjunct your moon. So such a
Yeah.
near and dear part of you. For me, I have Neptune in my sixth house. And I think that my work, right? The sixth house having to do with work, it really shows up in my work so much, where I
Wow.
really wanted to do work that was spiritually meaningful to me. And it's also in Sagittarius. And so and so that's very exciting to me anyways. And I think that's part of the spiritualization of the world being like such a beautiful and fascinating, and like any journey I ever take, anytime I travel, it's a spiritual pilgrimage for me. It really is. It is the thing that returns
Yeah.
my spirit, gets me in touch with some spiritual truths about myself, and is like this healing balm in my life. So it's very
Um,
powerful to consider all these different layers of Neptune and how they show up in our lives.
Yes. Yeah, and ultimately, between intuition and insanity, listening to that inner voice. Ultimately, this class, it is about Neptune, but it will, the main point is to listen to ourselves, listen to that little voice, and, understanding where it comes from and what it's leading us to. And that's it. Like for you, like you said, you have Neptune in the sixth in Sagittarius. I mean, not only are you connecting to spirit through your work environment, right? But you are also embodying these adventures, like you said, and these pilgrimage. That's everything, especially, with a Sag moon.
Yes, you know me. I got the Sag moon too, and it's also in the sixth. Yes, and you're my
Yes,
Sag moon sister, so I know that
yes,
you bring that positivity, that really
yes,
expansive, beautiful energy to
yes,
whatever it is that you teach and when it is that you teach.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to your class,
Me too.
Christina.
Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody that is watching this here now. Um, Join me. Let's have some laughs. Let's talk about Neptune and check if we're crazy or not.
Right? Exactly. And why not? Right? What is that song that I think it was in the 80s? If we're ever going to survive, we're going to have to get a little crazy, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Why not?
All right. I'm here for it.
Well, thank you again,
Thank
Christina. And you
you.
guys, once again, remember July speaker series at Synchronicity University. Choose your tuition rate for another 3 weeks from the time that this interview publishes. And links are in the description below. Learn more, check it out, and we'll see you in class. And thank you again, Christina. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody out there, once again for watching. And until we connect again, take care. Bye.